Hey, how you doing there again, folks? Me again, of course. Brandon Wenzel. Come back at you. Another offering. Off my sampler platter. Yes, indeed, folks. Sampler V series V's I've been doing for a little while now. Go over there, try out food and drink items. I eat stuff, I drink stuff, then, folks. I'm going to talk about stuff. I'm going to let you know all that you need to know about hopefully delicious stuff that time I'm doing this, folks, I'm not going to lie. I haven't done one of these in quite a while, but we'll get to that. Folks, it's super simple format. I'm going to go over there and try out food and or drink items for you. Whilst I'm doing so, I'm yammering on about it for a bit. Whilst I'm doing all that, I'm in my back room today, which means we get Peter Can Thunderbolt poster. Ooh, Peter Can Thunderbolt poster. Whilst I'm doing all that, folks, I am doing something else. What is it, though? I'm wearing a super cool shirt. Folks, when I wear super cool shirts, I always like to highlight the super cool shirt. What super cool shirt am I wearing for today, though? Happens to be my Corvin's Breed shirt. Yeah, really like the design on this. It's like simple yet complex. If you're unfamiliar with the band Corvin's Breed, it's basically a one-man musical project by a guy who goes by the name Matty Corvin. I ran into his stuff a couple years ago. He actually kind of, works in circles, music stuff that I'm already into. And it just kind of happened that, I kept kind of missing his stuff. And then finally, like I said, a couple years ago, I was able to actually, see him perform live and, get to experience his stuff in person. And I really dug it. It's kind of an industrial metal style, which I'm a really big fan of. On top of that, I got to go over there and meet him after his show. Seemed like a really good dude. I'm a big fan. I actually got some videos of his performance that I attended. Those videos are on my channel, just in case maybe you want to check them out. If nothing else, I'd be more than happy to point you in the right direction as far as his music goes, because I think the guy is damn fantastic. But anyway, what am I trying for you today, folks? What are we doing here? Haven't done one of these in a while, eh? So yeah, folks, if you watch my channel for quite a while, you might know that back in them thar days, kind of like the first, maybe 3 years or so of me doing this, I would occasionally do full-on special episodes, right? Where I would go over there and I would highlight a certain item and then I'd try to obnoxious them out of them. I did it for pineapple soda a few times. I did it for cream soda. That was a 3-part episode. I've done it for eggnog. One of the ones that I've teased for quite a while, though, is potentially doing a root beer special, because I'm a big root beer fan. I'm, in fact, such a big root beer fan, I have an entire playlist called Root Beer Reviews, where I go over there and put all my root beer-related reviews. So, I'm finally doing it. I'm finally doing a root beer review. But, boom! 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 I don't have a lot of octaves left. Boom! Boom! I'm doing alternative root beers. Yes, indeed, folks. I'm doing an assortment of 5, count them 5, healthy, alternative, probiotic-ish root beer stuff, right? It's not quite normal soda. It's an alternative. So let's take a look at our competitors. First one that happens to be in my hand is Live Soda. Live Organic Sodas. This is root beer flavor. Vintage root beer flavor with smooth wintergreen clove and vanilla notes. This is prebiotic, postbiotic, all that good stuff. Introducing Native Plus, our signature blend of pre-post, all that good stuff. So I'm pretty sure I've had Live in the past, but I don't know. Something sparked in my head when I saw it. We've also got Boom Olipop, classic root beer style. We've got Boom Poppy, another popular brand. Boom, we've got Reed's Root Beer, which that's a new one on me. Soda Smarter, 5 grams of sugar, 45 calories. 2,000 milligrams of ginger. Jesus! Elevate your soda experience. Alright, man, this is going to be interesting. Because some of these I've never had before. And then we finally got, boom, we've got Cove Prebiotic Root Beer Soda. 0 sugar, all that good stuff. Let's start out with the Live because, again, I'm pretty sure I've had this one before. So let's give it a go. These be delicious. It has a medicine-y smell, and not in a good root beer medicine-y smell way. Let's give it a go. There it is. Okay, that's not... Yeesh, that aftertaste. Yeesh, that aftertaste. Whew, okay. Well, the beginning is rather nice. They definitely emphasize that wintergreen aspect to it. I like that. All the flavors they're talking about, the wintergreen, the clove, and the vanilla, are definitely there and very present. And at the forefront of it, it's a nice, full-bodied root beer with a lot of flavor, a little bit of tanginess to it, which I'm guessing is sort of the prebiotic, probiotic stuff in the background. However, once once that starts to fade away, once those flavors start to fade away, you're left with that very medicine-y prebiotic, probiotic taste, and it's not the most flavorful thing you've ever wanted to experience. But yeah, it takes on like a sourness, which is not a thing that's not a quality you want in a root beer. It's a shame because the very beginning of it is actually rather tasty. Like, again, like as we've gotten better with like these, alternative sodas, I think we've sort of moved further away from again that sort of medicine-y vibe. But there's still room to grow, of course. I feel like that's a representation of this is like a perfect representation of that, where I feel like we're getting there. There's some good stuff here, but that tail end of it, we need to get away from that. But it's not the most terrible thing I've ever had. I do like the wintergreen aspect quite a bit. Almost reminds me of a birch beer. It has like a cooling effect. Okay. All right. Well, live is presently in first place because it's the first one. Let's try out the Poppy. I do not believe I've ever had Poppy's root beer. I have reviewed some Poppy though, so. This one has almost no waft to it. That is a substantially weaker flavor. Almost has a little bit of like a sort of caramel kind of vibe to it. This one, I think, it kind of ranges more in the order of like your sweeter root beers, like your Mugs and the A&W. It's very smooth. It's almost, I would say, it's completely non-abrasive, which is kind of nice in comparison to the the live soda, where again, that tail end of it isn't very good. But here's the thing: where the live soda, yeah, the tail end of it isn't all that great. The front end of it is nice and flavorful and represents a lot of what I like in a root beer. This is just much more mild throughout, and it's not anything that I find to be overly impressive. I don't hate it, but I certainly don't love it. I find it to be very kind of neutral. Yeah. I mean, credit where it's due, like it doesn't have that medicine-y taste to it, but it just tastes like, honestly, a pretty weak root beer. And as I've mentioned in the past, like I typically prefer to review something that maybe I'm not as fond of, but at the very least has personality versus something that's just very eh. This is very eh. So between the Poppy and the live soda, I'm actually going to put the live first and the Poppy second at the moment because, at the very least, the live has personality, and I do like the front end of it. So that's something in its favor. The Poppy, it's just a bit too. All right, let's go with Poppy's biggest competitor, Olipop. Try this one out next. I don't know if I've had Olipop root beer. Maybe. Tried so much of this crap. I don't know all the prebiotic and probiotic stuff that's going to be inside me. My gut better be super healthy after this, or I'll explode. A little bit of a waft. Oh, fuck me sideways. That's awful. What the hell were they doing with this? Ooh. And here's the thing. I like Olipop. Typically, I think that their flavors are really nice. Poppy, I'm a little bit more here or there on. Wow, that is nasty bad. That is just gnarly. So, it tastes like it wants to be a root beer that I would personally enjoy. I do like harsher root beers like Dad's and Barks, or Virgil's, things like that. I like root beers that have a lot of personality and have some bite to them. This tastes like it wants to be that. Like there is part of my brain that wants to like part of this. However, very quickly, and I mean very quickly, like not like the live where at the very least I like the front of it and then it cuts off. Almost immediately, this takes on some very unpleasant qualities that I do not like at all. I'm guessing they were going for sort of like an aniseedy, almost licoricey kind of vibe, which can be really good in a root beer. At least, for me, I like that. But that, I don't know if it's the flavoring that they're using, or if that in combination with the prebiotic, probiotic stuff, it almost tastes like if a root beer went off. Like it almost tastes like slightly rancid. It's really weird and not at all appealing. It just tastes funky and slightly bitter. Olipop is firmly in third place because it has some personality to it, but it has like the personality of like a Chad that you knew back in high school, and it's just bad. Like there's no redeeming qualities to him. Ugh, that is vile. Okay, excuse me. All right, let's do some Cove because I've never had Cove before. It's zero sugar, all that good stuff. Oh, can't be worse than the fucking Olipop. What the hell, Olipop? Olipop, I demand we need to get together. We need to sort this out. Okay? I'll be your professional taster. We'll get you a good tasting root beer. It ain't that though. Again, not a lot of waft. I'm getting a little worried about these. Again, kind of a slight sourness. That's definitely got to be coming from the prebiotic, probiotic bullshit. Yeah. And I understand that's part of the whole thing. I mean, that's, the alternative soda vibe. But I do feel like there are so many that are so good at going over there and making those flavors work, even with the probiotic stuff. Yeah. I don't know that this is doing it, though. It's not offensive, but kind of like with the Poppy, like it has a little bit more personality than the Poppy, but it's not as good of a personality. Like the Poppy's kind of neutral, right? Like it's just kind of there. It's mostly inoffensive. Um, this one, it's like if Poppy had like an annoying little brother, who it's like you're kind of cool with him, like he's there when you go over, but like, he always wants to go over there and be the second player, and you're just like, fuck off, kid. It's not bad. I like the notes of vanilla, but it's definitely not anything great. It's not all that tasty to me. I'm gonna put this in between the Poppy and the Olipop, so that puts it in third place because it is not horrible, but not great. All right, last one we got Reed's Root Beer. Soda Smarter with real ginger, 200 milligrams of ginger. Oh, it's your soda experience. Let's give it a go. Please be the best one. Again, not a lot of waft. Oh. Okay? Personality you have, I will give you that. This is the most licorice tasting root beer I have ever had. And I like licorice taste in root beer when it's used appropriately, when it's used in moderation. This was not used in moderation. This is like straight up licorice water. I have no idea where the ginger is. Seriously, like you think ginger, you think like a nice sort of spicy kind of, vibe to it. I'm not getting that any of that. I'm just getting straight licorice root. Um, it's so much licorice, and it's kind of bitter and kind of sour. It ain't great. Um, that's so licoricey. Jesus, even as somebody who likes licorice, that is too much. Alright. That's weird. Okay, where do you go? Um, Fuck it, you're gonna go dead in the middle. You're gonna be third now. Alright, well, with all that said, that means that in first place is the live soda. I do like this one the best. It's sort of damning with faint praise in this instance, but it is the one that I find the most palatable with the nicest personality, even though I don't like the aftertaste on it. I think overall it's the one I can get along with the most. I feel like the front end of it is the closest to a proper root beer taste. For sure. If they could work on that tail end, it would be pretty nice. The Poppy, again, it's middle of the road. I didn't expect it to finish second, but at the very least, it's inoffensive. There is that to it. It might be a little bit bland, but like I can at least give it, that much. The Reeds, aka the licorice soda, has personality, has elements that in theory I should like, but they overdid it so hard. It's like it's overcompensating, and it's just not that great in execution. But the Cove, I don't like that much either, but at the very least, the Reeds has more personality to it. This is both kind of bland and annoying. And then finally, in distant fourth, is Olipop, because this tastes like rancid horse anus. It's so bad. Right from the start, it's awful. Jesus. Alright, well, two questions have to be asked. Would I get any of these again? Would I recommend them? And again, let's have the winner in hand. No, honestly. I don't think I would return to any of these for any real reason. I don't like them at all. The live comes the closest because, again, I can at least kind of get along with it. But even then, I wouldn't get it again. It's just none of them really hit on a nice root beer taste. And I feel like in all of them, the prebiotic, probiotic aspect of them are way too prevalent. And it's too far off the mark. We haven't perfected the alternative soda technology enough, to the point where these are particularly palatable. Some of them more so than others. The Poppy, straight up, is probably the most, the closest. It's just such a weak root beer that I wouldn't get it again anyway. Now, if I'm recommending them, if you're into the prebiotic, probiotic scene anyway, I would suggest trying any other soda except for the root beers, apparently. And I mean, like I said, I've had plenty of different prebiotic stuff and alternative soda flavors, but none of these root beers that I've tried are good, in my opinion. Some of them have good qualities. I could take and mix and match and like make a pretty okay tasting root beer if I took the best aspects of these, but they're all either overcompensating or underwhelming. And I just don't think that they hit the mark yet. I think there will come a day when we can have nice things like that, where we can have nice alternative root beers that will properly engage. But I don't feel any of these do, and so I'm not going to put my stamp of approval on any of them. Again, I think some of them are close. Some of them are closer than others. Some of them are a million miles away. But 5 things before I get out of here. Have yourself a great rest of your day, spectacular rest of your week, monumental rest of your month, stupendous rest of your year. Folks, go over there and have yourselves a truly root beer-tastic rest of your life, because, folks, when it's root beer, it's always root beer-tastic. Final 2 things. Number 1, try to bring some positivity into the world. It's not always possible. It is, however, always appreciated. But what you do can't do it all the time. I know I can't do it all the time. Here's what you're going to do, folks. You're going to try not to be an asshole. Now, folks, it's not always the easiest thing in the world to not be an asshole. Trust me. I know it. I live it. I'm out there every day with you in it. Life can be stressful and frustrating and just bullshit sometimes, folks. When we find ourselves in situations where we have to deal with said bullshit, it's important we go over there whenever possible. Take a step back, try to mitigate the level of assholishness in our lives, hopefully do better for ourselves and for those around us. Very final thing, folks, do the thing. Whatever the thing is for you, that's what I want you to go out and do. Folks, are there any alternative root beers out there that you're willing to vouch for? Please feel free to hit me up in the comments and let me know. Because at the end of the day, I can always go over there and do another one of these specials, provided that I have some decent contenders. But we'll have to wait and see. Anyway,